Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our ProdLib webinar, where we will show you how you can design smarter, not harder. Janne from ProdLib will be talking to us today and going through how ProdLib works, all the ins and outs of the program. We have the chat box open. You can please feel free to submit some questions if you want. We will try to get back to them at the end of the webinar. And if we don't have time to get back to them, we will come back to it by email afterwards. We have a poll at the beginning of the webinar where we are asking you some few things. Please answer, and then at the end of the webinar, there's a short survey. But yeah, thanks for everyone for joining, and I will leave the stage for Janne.
Thank you, Henrika. So from my behalf, welcome to the webinar. Now some technical things learning with the webinar application here. So I think that I can see at least my face on the view at the moment. So I think I will. Let's see if I just close this one. Hopefully I don't miserably fail. Yeah, good. Yeah. Okay, so sorry for that hassle there. Thanks for joining the webinar. I will try to tell you today shortly a bit how ProdLib application work and how you could use it on your everyday work. And as Henrika said, all the feedback that you give and send for us are more than welcome. To hopefully we can help with that one to develop the service forward. But I will show a couple of slides just about the ProdLib and what we do, and then I will just go to the live application and environment. So let's see what comes out of this one. So let's get going if I can go with. So this is a short draft of agenda. Most likely I will be jumping back and forth during the presentation, but just a short description of the ProdLib service and our history and how it's been used, and then mainly concentrating about how it's actually been used in using the web library or using the actual application that gets integrated into your design software. And then in the end, also some specials what we have about ProdLib one, where you can have a bit more extra usage for the content. But in short, what is ProdLib library? It's basically a library, a collection of manufacturer-specific CAD and BIM content that is targeted to help your design workflow, so that you don't need to spend so much time on searching and testing different kind of content what manufacturers provide. We also have some generic content available for the projects, and with the ProdLib application you can also get more usability to the content and also manage your own files, which I'll show you also in the end. But and the usage of the service is free of charge for any user, so just feel free to test it. You would need to log in to the service, but that's it. So log in, try the files, and load the application, and you'll see how it works. But I'll give you a quick spin about that one. But before we get to the real deal, some mandatory talk about and a bit description about the ProdLib and how it's been developed. ProdLib was funded 2013, so we just had a bit over 10 years since we started. And the target was basically to connect designers and the manufacturers, so that the manufacturers would have an easy channel to reach architects, engineers, draftsmen who are working with CAD and BIM files, and to share it centrally for them. We started with publishing the first library for Peikko Group. That is it's a Finnish manufacturer doing different kind of steel-based concrete connections, so everything embedded to the concrete structure. And since then, if we see sort of a bit from the top of here, our brand identity has changed along the way, and now also a bit of the ownership. So Byggfakta Group came as a partner to ProdLib in 2019, and ProdLib was fully acquired now in 2024, in first half of 2024, and now we are in transition to the Habexo brand with the Byggfakta Group. So therefore the logo of ProdLib powered by Habexo. And if you see about the content, how we have been developed, so the first libraries we published in October 2014. From there, little by little, we included more content. So in the first 5 years, basically, we had about 50 manufacturers sharing their design content through our service. And now we are, at the moment, we have actually exactly 150 public libraries and quite a few under construction. So the speed is accelerating. I'm actually missing here the user base, but it would be actually the same way. So when we started, of course, we had no users, but at the moment we have in Nordics and Baltics something like 35 to 40,000 registered users who are all architects, engineers, and students of those fields. And users we have from all over the world. So several of our customers share all the content only through our service. And the same way, the support for different platforms. So we started with AutoCAD and Revit, and we extended the support to share ArchiCAD files also 2016. Additional CAD software, BricsCAD, CAD, SketchUp, and also the latest one has been Tekla, so that we can support different users of different software. And on the bottom, basically, how we've developed also the service itself. And we started basically pretty much of creating Revit content and sharing them, as well as then the AutoCAD or CAD content. And among the years, we started to develop functionalities like Build Up, which is enabling creation of walls, floors, roofs based on real materials. I'll show that a bit later on. Until some of the solutions what we nowadays do is pretty complex stairs, railings, curtain walls, different kind of small add-ons to make the actual design work of individual products hopefully much faster and easier. I think you are the judge for that one. So a bit. I think jump these ones really fast, these slides, and then go to the real deal. So we basically what we prefer is that we recommend all the users to download the application, that it works as a standalone application, but also integrated with the most common software, where we can build basically a customized view for each of our manufacturers to have the selections of the product much more visible and directly available. Of course, we have the web library where users, if you cannot install the application or you don't want to install it, you can access the content through the web libraries. And some of our manufacturers, customers also share those files through their own web pages. So you can also, like in this case, the FinBin is embedding our product library, the BIM files and the CAD files, also on their own web pages. So you can use it through multiple platforms. Target would be that it would be all same content available as easily as possible. And I think that was pretty much it from my slides. Okay, there was some brands that we have in our service, but let's go and see a bit how it works in a real life. So I'll close this one and
I could start the poll, poll when you're opening that, so
yeah,
you can answer it.
Yes, please.
At this time.
So there should be a poll available for you where you can select what were the questions.
Which design software do you use?
Yes, so that will be, if you can just share, I mean, are you using Revit, ArchiCAD, Tekla, SketchUp, AutoCAD, something else? please, that will help us also to target our development and also to inform the manufacturers who are our customers that what do the users actually use. It's actually quite interesting that many of the manufacturers want to really support architects and engineers and designers in their workflow, but they don't know how. So it's very helpful also for us to be able to share that information as how and what software use. But I think you're getting some answers there. I don't see them. So
yes, there are answers.
Cool.
I'll just give it a few seconds more and then I'll close it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks. Thank you, everybody. And if there's not something in the list, I guess you can add it also to a chat box if there's some additional software that you're using. So that's good. But this is the web page for finding and downloading different content. It's a bit of a throw-in page with some lifts from recently what I have been adding or using. So it's for every user it changes a bit. We have possibility to search on the library based on the manufacturer information, based on categories, based on product names or some other sort of information. These are basically what we have here is for example, if I want to see doors and windows and click on that one, I can see as a default what brands do we have so belonging to these categories, and then under there is examples of those products what are available. And if I click on, for example, any of these ones, so now in this case the Puustamo door, wood frame door, there are some parameters that can be selected, some information of the product, and the files that are available are here downloadable on the right hand side. We have a bit differences of sharing the content. For example, for ArchiCAD, we typically share full product libraries as such, so they are native ArchiCAD content and as a LCF files that can be accessed either in the product level, or if I now click on this Puustamo, I can see actually on the hierarchy here that what other products do they have here in their library. So, and if I just double click on any of them, then again going forward, seeing what kind of products they have until I get back to the files. So the basic thing is try to either type if I want to have bolts. So let's see what do I find. I have anything that says bolts in the product. So there's quite a long list of products that can be found. So then again, you can use these classifications or branches. So if I want to find, for example, Peikko, again doing more structural content, then the full product portfolio what they have available in our service is visible here on the left hand side, and you can go for the categories by clicking forward. So I want to have column shoes for and the size differences here. And again, in this case, they have CAD files from different views, and there's some ArchiCAD content, and yeah, and now I'm missing my Revit file, which is wondering why isn't it visible. Perfect. Need to check it after I know this it's available. So I think it's in this level. But yeah, so you can find and access to the content through the web. And the web library itself works as any web page or service that you have files that you download. So the files go to your downloads folder, and then you either open them, you copy paste them to your projects, and use them as you wish. So there's nothing sort of special about that one. So try to find whatever product you want to have and use them on your projects. Here's also the searches for based on classification. So if I want to have bathroom furniture, for example, I can find all the bathroom furniture with again the brands and individual products that can be downloaded. But as you have seen, in every page I've been visiting, we have this download product application. So that's actually the application that we try to recommend all the users to use, because we get better usability for the content. And well, I think that's the easiest way of explaining it. I'll show you in a heartbeat. So the application works as a standalone application, but it also works together with AutoCAD, with Revit, SketchUp, and also some functionalities in Tekla, which we are developing further in the future. But the main parts are in Revit and AutoCAD. With ArchiCAD also we can manage the library downloads so that you can make sure that you can insert the libraries easily and also make sure that they are always up to date. And I'll jump to that one. So you need, again, like with the, if you're already registered, just download it. You do need at the moment admin rights. I think we have a version coming up with this, which can be done or installed also with more limited rights. But at the moment, this public version requires admin rights for installation. But then that's it. So once it's installed, it's available in all the applications, and we can support also centralized installation. So if you have your IT team on your company, we can help them to do the installation as a centralized silent installation. So no need to do it individually for every user. But I'll jump to the ProdLib manager, which is the application that was loaded. So this is what you would get when you install the application. So what we don't basically, I mean, every user decides themselves what content they want to use. If you're an architect, most likely you are not interested about Hiltis and Wirtz bolts and screws and or Peikko's content. Or if you are a structural engineer, the other way around, maybe you're not interested of Legolar's furniture or kitchen tabletops and stuff like that. So it's always up to every user to select what kind of content they want to use. The idea with the application is that you basically load the content locally to your computer, and then you have access to it whenever you need. And the application itself just makes sure that you have always latest version of the content. Adding the libraries is from the tab Add Libraries. Some logic at least, hopefully. So from here again, we can see the same grouping or classification as we had on the web page. So if I want to have window manufacturers that would be available, so this would be now the list of all window manufacturers in our service. Or if I know some specific name, if I want to have Legolar furniture, I can just search it with the name in the list. There's also, if you know that you're using any of the major, so if I want to see only for example content available using Revit, I can then, now it's basically filtering so that they have to have at least Revit available. So this is the list of content what I can find from there. But once you have located content what you want to have, basically I'll do actually now one thing, that I hide everything that I have already installed to my computer so that I can show a bit the workflow as how it works. So I'll want to have, for example, Metsäwood library to myself. So there's a very short information about the library itself, and then to download it is just select it and would start. And hopefully I don't know. I need to accept the end user license agreement, but now it starts basically the downloading of the library. It downloads all the content. If there's CAD files, Revit files, installation instructions, C documentation, whatever there is included into the library is now downloaded to my computer so that I can use it also offline if needed. And as I said, the application itself checks on regular basis that it's always up to date. So if we publish, for example, new content for Metsäwood, users would be notified. I think that I have some, if I go through some of my groupings, which I'll show in a moment how they are. For example, here I can see that in my Puustelli minus library, I have loaded it, but there's an update available. So then again, the update would be by selecting the supplier, and there's a click of, it's like one click to download all the changes. So this is basically where you find the libraries and you load them according to your needs. And once you start adding more and more content, every library that I add, they come here visible here on the left side view of libraries. And as you can see here, I have these different kind of groups here. So when you get more content, it can help you to arrange them as you want, and that can be actually managed through the settings. So we have here libraries grouping option, where we also have option to change the user interface language. We have at the moment we have 4 languages, working on most likely getting more in the future. But in the libraries grouping, you can add your own new groups, modify existing groups, rearrange these groups as you want. So just it's a way of helping you to organize the content what you have available or you want to have available. I've been arranging them so that I find more or less at least what I'm looking for. So I'll keep those on for a while. Still, for the front page in the application, we'll add whenever, for example, we have some new updates of libraries or something important to notify, we'll create news that are visible also in the application. We just had, for example, recently a webinar with Rookie, so we added it here. So, and this is the news we show here is always related to some of the manufacturer content or something important. So not really spamming in that sense, but really something relevant for the users. Okay, so how does it actually then look and how does it work? I can basically pick any of these libraries now that I have added here. So let's start with some furniture, Legolar. One thing to notify here is that from here I can open the Legolar product library. I'll open it just in a second. If I want to download the ArchiCAD content that is relevant now that has the Legolar content here, it's a separate selection here. So now I already have it, so it only shows the open folder where is the location of the LCF file. But if I wouldn't have it, it would show download ArchiCAD content. So it downloads the LCF file or any other content that is relevant for that manufacturer. But now in this case, the Legolar, I'll open it. So this is now the view that has been customized and agreed with Legolar. There's some of the product portfolio. It's not everything, but these are typical cases that we grow them little by little as the manufacturer wants. They are the ones who pay the funds, so we need to get them engaged, of course. As in this case, the content, the user interface is translated. It's either in Finnish or English. We have different language versions for depending on the manufacturer. Some of our customers are local, so you will find still lots of content that are only in Finnish because that's where we started the service. But it's coming more and more international. We are doing all the time more translations, so they be as usable as possible. But in the same way as in the web library, by clicking either from the view here or clicking from the browser on the left side, you go all the way until you find the available solutions for or selections for this product. And as you can see here, for example, in this case, most of the products are actually configurable. They are in Revit, they are native Revit files. In ArchiCAD, they are native ArchiCAD content which are also configured. So the different sizes, colors, and so on, they are selectable, and they will be also applied when I use them with Revit. I'll show it in a moment. But in this case, for example, Legolar also has just plain CAD content. So in this case, it's a 2D view of the product itself. So you can use it in a plan views of the content. Depending on the manufacturer, if I find something a bit more technical, let's take, for example, Hilti. So I can type searches here in the view. I'll open this one. Anchoring rods elements, expansion anchors. For example, this kind of products, if you're downloading files from the web page, just for example, this individual product has several sizes of products and they have views from the different directions. So if you want to really use it in a detail, you would need to download separately quite a few files and also recognize them. Now we can actually make it quite visual, the selection. So if you want to have these anchor bolts and all the sizes that are available, always the correct attachments are available here on the side. And let's go actually see how it really works. So if I now take it to my AutoCAD, the first thing that I'll show you is how to use just the drag and drop function, which actually works also with most of the other CAD content or that we have. So if you don't have to have the plugin installed, you would need to have a full version of AutoCAD, because AutoCAD is coming. There's an LT version, which is quite common. There's also other CAD softwares, BricsCAD, yeah, many of them. So if we don't have a support for that one, what you can always do is that you use this standalone application, you find your product, and in this case, for example, I want to have this one. I can either open it or just drag and drop it here. Yes, I can. So there's my, I need to define the rotation and the scaling, but that's it. So there was the heal this screw. Find what you need and add it. That's basically the principle with all the content what we have. So it doesn't matter if I'm going. Let's take something different. Let's take from Peikko. They have, for example, they have lots of also 2D CAD blocks of their products. So if I see these, all the concrete connections and bolts and column shoes and so on, but they also have, like in this case, typical details for I thought I closed my Teams, but obviously it's still not running. So in this case, for example, Peikko is sharing typical installation details of how to use the delta beams, what they are manufacturing, and you can see the preview here. I can open it either in my PDF viewer, which is so this opened the PDF view, or I can do the same thing as I did with the bolt. So I can just again drag and drop this to my any open CAD software, and there it is. Hopefully relatively easy. And if you have full AutoCAD, I can do the whole thing inside the CAD software. So now you can see that I have this ProdLib ribbon here installed in my visible in my AutoCAD. I'll actually select the ProdLib panel here, because this helps me to at least, I mean, these are a matter of taste. So if you want to use the content from the ribbon, they are all available here, but it can get a bit crowded there if you are having 100 manufacturers content there. So what I myself prefer to use is the side panel, where I can just figure out again what I have here and open the library directly from inside the CAD software. That opens same user interface than anywhere else. So I have the same usability. I don't need to know the name of the CAD file of the product. I can just go and find it. Hey, I want to have a sandwich panel from Rookie, wall panels, standard panel, and there's lots of options still. I can go here, SPA 200, that's the thickness. Like I said, the technical properties of this specific product, it has certain U values, sound insulation values. Then it has just a CAD section view of that product. It's simplified section view in this case, so but just to have the geometry. Or if I want to have the 300, I can see already here comparing the products what they have. And if I really want to be sure that is it correct, so there's a link to Rookie's page to the correct product site, so that you can find additional technical information about that product, just to hopefully make it easier to find the content. And if I want to have it, this section view here, oh, perfect. Why do I always get these errors when I'm doing these ones? Let's try something else. Okay. I'll try to find a bit more interesting content for the Rookie as well, and find this. Let's take some of these details. Same thing, PDF, DWG, just insert it, and it will be, there is the detail to be added my project. So find what you need and pick it and add it. Of course, you need to first find the content what you're looking for and group it as you want it. But that's the basics of how it works. And now if I jump to Revit side to go to the BIM, it's a bit maybe even more interesting. I have here a couple of projects. I'll show this. This is just some sample projects, but I just show a couple here. But I can also show it on an empty template, so you see how it works. So I mean, one of the challenges with Revit, for example, is that if you are downloading your lots of own content and libraries, and you save them to a template of your company, it can get massive. So what we can do is that we can actually access all the content in the ProdLib library, browse it, and just add it always case by case to each project. So it doesn't need to be preloaded to any project template. So here you can see the same ribbon that I had in AutoCAD, but I will again choose the option of using the panel. And if I want to have, well, I have a bit more architectural building here. I can show a bit more technical content in a moment. I'll slice a bit so that I can see inside here. And let's see what I'll get. I would have some furniture. Let's take HA Products, one of our recent libraries, which is actually having much more content coming up here in a bit later on, beginning of next year. So I want to have a Cubus standing table, different sizes, 1200, 800, and this has some color selections. So if I want to have light gray, white, well, let's stick with the birch. Oh no, actually, let's change it. So I want to have oak. I could select the stand color, and then when I found what I wanted, I can add it from the insert. So now it actually loaded to this specific project. It takes a moment for first time loading. No, I don't want to save it. I just want to have my table over there. There it is. So it will basically first add it and then modify any, if I had changed, for example, the colors or so on. So I can show it with, let's see, add some regular chairs around the table. So some seats. Caroline, you have different leg selection, different handrails, with or without handrails. Well, if I take with this one, have here still different color selections. Absolutely, I want to do it red, orange. So let's do that one. Again, now it's loaded to this project. And then I can just add it. Let's put couple of those around the table. Now it shows that this would be green, but as soon as I will cancel my command here, it will apply the color that I selected in the user interface, as you see. So basically all the content what we have are, almost all the content we have are configurable, basic Revit native content. I'll jump a bit to show just a bit more structural. I have a bit more. This is actually from a real project that has been done with Revit quite a few years ago, with all the reinforcement and stuff. If I'll search for, now I will need to just a moment. I'll use the Peikko content and select this one. Again, all the content available here, all the different sizes. If I would like to have base bolts for the columns, I could just select the size and add the Revit file. I take something a bit more complex. I'll use this one. I know the product name because I've been using it so many times. This is it's a punching reinforcement to use to enforce the concrete slabs in the locations of the columns, so that the column doesn't go through the slab. These are these kind of groups of like in this case, I would have a group of 20 or 24 of these kind of rails that are configurable. So if I want to have 24 rails with 6 studs with the diameter of 16, with the length of 225, and then the distances between the doubles 150, yeah, that's fine for me. and then I just add it. Again, it will load it to the project. This is a bit more complicated object. It takes a moment, but just if you bear with me a moment, I should be able to see it after a while. So there is the family group of these objects. I've made myself a helpline there so that it's easier to add. So I'm cheating a bit, but I'm just thinking of as an example of this kind of, it looks like a simple product, but number of variations what we have for this one. Different groups, there were 6 different options with different number of stud options, with different size of stud options, with the different height options. So what we actually can create with this simple configuration, it's thousands of combinations that can be applied on the fly. So it can be a really powerful way of using these families, because if I want to do it traditionally from all the parameters, I would need to go through finding the all the relevant properties that I need to find and direct it to the direction what I want to. So this is, again, find content what you need and just add it. And if I show a couple of more examples from here, we have also some generic content, as I mentioned in the very beginning. If I go to this is just recently published, and it's just the first version of it. So we will expand it by the time. There's some basic furniture, some basic doors and windows that you can add, and these are generic objects. And there's from each of these objects, there's actually 2 different versions. It's very basic, the user interface. So we have the height, width, and frame depth that can be selected. And each of them has 2 different Revit families. They are geometrically identical, but the later one here, which says has a name NBS BOS. So it means that this is done, the parameterization is done according to the NBS BIM object standard that is published by NBS in UK. So the geometry is identical, but it's just that in NBS they use lots of uniclass properties in the Revit families. So there's a lots of information there that are not necessarily that relevant in Nordic countries. So that's why we've done 2 versions of it. The one that is directly from the NBS, and then the simplified version from the parametric point of view. So the content itself, the geometry itself, it's identical. So if I want to have this one, I just pick it again and wait for a moment that it gets loaded, and just spin it a bit the model and add it here. So there you have your door. But for example, comparing this one, if I take a library with a manufacturer specific, just a moment, that one. So for example, this is a manufacturer doing different kind of entrance elements and exterior doors. So the selections can be, we can get it much more visual with different selections. So there's lots of possibilities that you can do with these objects. Have some information, min-max values for the products and so on. Yep. But then I'll show a couple of still a bit sort of special or extra things that are still making hopefully the life easier. And I'll do it just from the empty project so that you can see that there's nothing really preloaded or predefined. So just a normal basic Revit template from the default templates from Autodesk. So this is the view, and I'll just add, this is from the 3D view. So this is fine for me. I'll create one floor element here because I want to do some railings and glazings to start with. So there's my, I try to make it more or less horizontal. Could have also done it, of course, in a plan view would be maybe easier, but this goes fine. That's it. There's my floor. Now what we can do also in the Revit side, that we can make usage of a bit more complex products much easier. So here's an example for one glazing railing manufacturer, Luman, and they have a configurator basically with if I take the long railing, so I have some options here to drive the parameters of the railing. So I can do it as a side installation or top installation. Let's take a top one in this case. I have a couple of handrail options. I can select that one. Do I want to have a glazing from top of the handrail? So it will mean this part here. Yes, I think I will have that one. Would there be cover profiles there? No, I can want to have maybe these are fine. Height of the overall from the bottom to top. Height of the handrail I can set. The set is basically the offset from the edge of the balcony, and I can set some default widths for the railing glass width, or then the glazing glass panel. I'll go with these ones. Again, this kind of object would be, or family would be really heavy in Revit, but what we can do is that we can create it using a normal Revit's rail and curtain wall function. So now what I need to do is I just show a path. Where do I want to add it? That's my edge of the rail. I'll accept it. It first loaded there the handrail, and now the balustrade. If I take a bit of the rendered view, so there's my Lumon railing with the glazing added to the empty project. That seems pretty simple. And this is still fully, what we create here is that it's a group in Revit, but I can still modify it. So if I go to modify and I want to change it that, hey, actually I didn't want to have a glazing, and I'll update it, and it should just basically modify the object. And still everything is native Revit content, what we have done here. Some other sort of specialties, what we can do is we can do also, I'll show one stair example. Oh, maybe I do that there. Grado is a Finnish manufacturer. They do, well, they have a couple of different stair models. If I take an L shape, again, I can define the height of the overall stair, riser height. These also have, we can do some min max checks here, so that hey, that it will test that it actually can be created. Thread depth, handrail options here. I want to have, for example, circular wood with handrail. No, that was the top rail. Okay, let's take rectangular, and this one circular. And now I want to have this inserted and just define a location. Well, and now what it is, it actually launches Revit's stair and rail tools to create the configuration what I just defined. So this is based on the dimensions that I defined with the setup that I defined in the column. Circular handrails with a rectangular top profile. I can drive the direction of this one. I mean where is the turn point and so on. So hopefully this make to use it a bit more easier with that one. And then one more thing about something that is a bit more special. This also is how we manage building materials that are this kind of layered structures. So what we talk about walls, floors, and roofs. The normal way of sharing is to create one sample wall, add it in the project, define the material properties, and then save that project file. And then the user would need to download the project file, copy paste the products from one project to another one, and repeat that one always. What we can do is that we can actually create those materials and create those wall builders on the fly. This is an example of what we've done for Stora Enso, for example. And I can go and see, I want to have external walls. They have a bit of a special layout how they want to show these ones, but this would be the layout of the build-up what we have here. So we basically create a layered structure with real properties that can be changed also. Or I can change the thickness of this layer, or I can remove that layer if I want to. Or then I can just, like in this case, I can just, yes, I want to add this as a wall. So now it loads those materials to this project, and there will be my wall. And if I check a bit more in detail in here it's a native basic wall with the name that was defined by Stura, with all the material layers, with all the relevant product information for these materials. So we have thermal and physical and appearance properties set for these materials. So basically what you can do is that either use existing, or let's say that in this case I want to show Baurox exterior wall with, this could be a good basis, but it's not quite what I want. I want to change, for example, the thickness of the brick facade. So what I can do is that I want to edit my wall. So now it's actually editable. I can, if I want to have this plaster layer, I can edit it and say that, hey, actually this plaster layer was only 6 millimeters. I could change the material of it. I could remove that layer. Or if I want to have this brick facade, again, change it, I can open. This opens basically our material library, where you can find different products as by the brand, just by the name, and also all the relevant basic information of those products. So it's really a real material database that we can share. Some of the materials also have CO2 values based on the A1, A3 from the EPD of the material information. And we can also, this is just a basic build up, which is a collection of some samples where there's a small setup of walls, roofs, and floors using exactly the same thing. These are example structures that you can configure. You can also save them so that they are available in the new projects. So I could save, change it and save it and use it elsewhere as well. So this can be a nice way of sharing or using these wall and floor and so structures. Okay, well, I have 10 minutes time, so I think I will stop the Revit part. The thing is, I will show ArchiCAD very fastly because I'm a miserable user of ArchiCAD, so I don't really know how to use it, but I'll just show you how you can manage the libraries. There are several other things that we can do in Revit part that can simplify the usage. So please give it a go and give us feedback of that one. But let's show still the ArchiCAD part before we run out of time. So this is now ArchiCAD, as you see it in the demo. I don't even have the license, so I have just the demo versions of the ArchiCAD. But luckily, I can open content with it. So the ProdLib plugin, it also gets visible here in the options. But the point of the ProdLib plugin is only to manage the libraries and the content that you have. So what it now does is it opens the ProdLib manager with the filters on that shows me only content with ArchiCAD content. So if I take, for example, Leftovore here, I have an option to, I have it already downloaded. So if I wouldn't have it, you would see here as a download ArchiCAD content. But what I can, since I have it already, I can just add it directly to my empty project. So if I do this one, it shows that, okay, this is the LCF file that it wants to use. Yes, I want to use this one, and I hope I get a notification that it will be available. Yes, great success. ArchiCAD libraries update. Okay, and now I can close this one. And now if I go to add in any, there are basically in Leftovore libraries objects, so I can see that it got loaded here. So now the library of Leftovore, it has some variations. So if I take, for example, this Viva, which is a shelter, quite complex shelter option. So I'll take two-sided Viva. I can take, what is the roof, 40 meter. It's a modular roof structure. So that's why it comes to lengths, and there's options for the walls. I want to have hammer glass. I want to have, yeah, bench is fine, and then I'll just add it here. That's the, and now if I show it in a 3D view, there's my there's my glass shelter. So also, and this is a native ArchiCAD object. So again, fully configurable and available for the users. The same thing. Well, I can actually still jump very quickly to here because this is actually quite nice. I think I've shown this quite a few times. So if you have seen already ProdLib demos, this is something I present many times because I know that this is really complex in Revit. So the same shelter that was in ArchiCAD, I can select here the length. I want to have out this 10 meters. I want to have also the hammer glass version. And let's use this time bicycle shelters with foundations. So if this would be a plain family in Revit, it would be extremely heavy and complicated. But what we can do is we use the bit same technique as we use with the railings and the glazing. So this is now the space reservation of that shelter, and now it's loaded. It's being built. You can see here maybe in when it's been loading. There was the first module of the wall and the foundation. Now it's loading the next piece, which was the roof module, and all the first piece of the bicycle shelter. So it's literally building it from individual family objects. And once they are all loaded to the project, I will get the outcome of the shelter, what I wanted. And again, all done with native Revit content. I can still go to ProdLib modify and start changing it. Actually, I wanted that this was one-sided. And now updating it, and yeah, that's one-sided. So, but in ArchiCAD, as I said, we basically load the libraries. So what you can do is go to the options, open the ProdLib manager, and find again the content what you want. The same groupings and so are available depending on who has content for ArchiCAD. But I think that's sort of not in so short in the end how you can use all the content that is available for the users. Find the libraries and the content you need and use them as much as you can. And whenever you find something that doesn't work or you have some ideas how we could improve it, please let us know. So we are really open for the feedback, because if this doesn't make your life easier, then we have pretty much failed. And then of course our customers who are the manufacturers, they don't want to use it. So it is critical that we get your feedback and ideas that how can we push it forward. But I think that if there's any questions online, I'll be happy to answer if I can. But if there are none, I think we can wrap this one. And I thank you for your patience for listening and spending the time with me. Hope there was something of interest. And as I said, let us know how to push it forward and or who manufacturers or content you would like to have there. I think there's, yeah, just a comment. So yeah, please give it a go. And if there's anything, I mean, we have info@prodlib.com, which is the easiest email to send questions, or of course to myself as well. So any channel you find, and we'll try to help the best we can. But yeah, thank you everybody. Hopefully we see maybe later on. Oh yeah, I hear from you.
Thank you. It was informative even for me. Yeah.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.